The sense of guilt. How many times we felt this emotion when we wanted to do something for ourselves, when we wanted to go in the direction of our self-realization, when we wanted to fulfill our true desire. The sense of guilt can be an emotion which limits a lot our life, and in this video we are going to see how to manage, how to handle this emotion in order to free our life and give energy to our process of self-realization. I'm Valerio Verrea, this is Tarology Academy, where we use the archetype of traditional tarots to give awareness, knowledge and consciousness about the inner process of our life. If you want to know more, check it out, the link in the description. The sense of guilt is an emotion that is very common. Everybody feels it sometime, somewhere in life, and it often happen when we do not fulfill the request of our parents or some other person which are relevant in our family system. Sometimes this feeling is a feeling that even happen before the requests actually take place. It's something that is automatically generated inside of ourselves and can be a very strong burden, a very strong limiting force in our self-realization process. Where does the sense of guilt come from? The sense of guilt is an emotion which actually hides inside of itself fear. Fear is the key of the sense of guilt. And fear of what? Basically, is a fear that my action will activate a reaction in some other relevant person in my life, usually somebody which is more powerful than me, and this thing will generate a punishment against myself. And this punishment can be emotionally extremely hard. In reality, the sense of guilt is an anticipatory emotion. It's an emotion that I have about the consequence of my action in the moment that I'm doing the action or even before doing the action. So I just imagine that something will happen and therefore I block myself in doing the action itself. And actually, the consequence of my action and the reaction of these significant others may even never happen, but I feel the emotion before, so I will probably never know. But how to handle the sense of guilt? The sense of guilt is an emotion that is not easy to cancel, to delete, to let go, but it's not so hard to handle, to manage. We can learn how to manage this emotion, and by managing it in a conscious way, slowly, step by step, the power of this emotion will start to be weaker and weaker. The first thing that we have to understand when we go to handle, to deal with the sense of guilt, is that the consequence of the action are actually imagined. So it's not really true what our mind imagine about as a consequence of my action. And this consequence of my action maybe will never happen. I have an example. It's a dear friend, and he had the problem. He has the mother who developed Alzheimer's disease, so her mind didn't work properly anymore. And my friend didn't want to send a mother to specialized healthcare facility because he felt that he had to take care of it. And he started to take care of it himself, and then he needed some help with some private one-to-one personal support. And this thing started to be very, very hard for him. He was spending all his holidays and free time with the mother, taking care of the mother. He was sacrificing a lot of time. He was just going to work and going to the mother, going to work and going to the mother. His life was getting really, really gray, and he was definitely not happy for that. But because he had a very strong feel of guilt, he couldn't allow himself to say, okay, it's time to give my mother to specific care and free myself again. And he didn't do it. After we worked a lot in that, we realized that there was this feeling of guilt, and he was afraid that the mother would feel very bad in this kind of institution. Working with that, he allowed itself to happen, and he found a nice, good, specialized facility, specialized for people with Alzheimer's. And then the mother was there, actually is near to his house, so he started to go to visit her like periodically, once, twice a week, as he would normally do, with much more joy, much more relief. His life started to go back to normality. And the very unexpected, but actually expected for me, thing is that the mother in this new context with specialized people in a much more stable environment started to feel much better. The mood of the mother started to improve. So the fear that the mother would feel bad there actually was not there, but that fear was blocking the action and making him feel guilty. So we have to be rational and reasonable in seeing that what we imagine as a consequence might not be true at all, and very often is not true at all. And this brings back more rationality in our choices. Yeah, there might be feeling of guilt, but we know that things might be different than what we expect. And number two, the second aspect that we have to be aware of is order. So there is an order in all the system and all the social system, all the family system, which say that somebody arrived before and somebody arrived after. And energy goes from those who arrived before, grandparents, parents, and then us, and goes to those which arrive later, so from us to our kids, to our children. And this flow of energy is always in this direction. But very often we feel guilt if we don't take care of those which are bigger than us. And that's very tricky, because this implies that our energy, instead of going down, goes up. This implies that our life can't work anymore properly if we give too much energy up, and especially our children will start to suffer from it. I remember this case. A woman, all of a sudden the mother started to feel very bad and needed a lot of support. So she started to give a lot of support to the mother to take her place in the family with the father, so cooking and doing all the things to the father as well. But in that time, when she was giving all this energy to her old mother and father, her kids, a child and a teenager, started to have a lot of problem, a lot of emotional problem, and started to have problem at school, starting to go in a very bad way. And we had to do a lot of work to realize that, and they say, hey, well, the energy needs to go in the other direction, because we cannot sacrifice our children for our parents. And this is sad, but that's true. That's how life works. Energy, attention goes from who came before to who came after. It's like a river. We can't bring energy to the mountain. We can't bring water to the mountain. And this implies that we recognize our limits, and we recognize that we cannot do anything. We cannot save our parents when they are old. Of course, we do what we need to do in case of emergency, but we cannot take their place, and we cannot sacrifice our life or the life of our kids for them. And if we feel guilt for that, well, we go through it. We cannot change, we cannot sacrifice for that. This is very important. We need to keep in mind that there is an order, and this order must be respected. Otherwise, there will be consequence after us, so our kids, if we have, there will be consequence in our life, and actually also the relationship with our parents will be complicated. Why? Because if I sacrifice my life for them, there is a lot of anger coming up. There is anger because I am giving essential part, very important moments of my life, sacrificing them for my parents. And these things start to create anger, and this anger goes and destroys the relationship. So we need to go our way. We need to get our energy in balance, and then this thing will also, after the first step in which we have to overcome guilt, then everything will be more in harmony, and there will be some solution coming. And this is very important to remember. Managing the sense of guilt is not easy, but it's something crucial to do if we want to really live our life in the best way possible, to be in harmony with our family, give the right energy to our children, and work together to grow a better future for our world. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's useful for you. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe the channel clicking on the notification bell. If you have some experience you want to share about this, leave a comment. I'm very happy to talk to you about it. Thanks for watching.